Welcome. And thanks for finding me back here. They asked me, whoa, I feel very hot. Why am I not like moving? Aha, thank you, sponsors. So, do you guys know the Monty Python Holy Grail movie? Yeah, so you know that bit at the beginning where they go, the credits have been redone at the last minute at great expense. Okay, we're gonna try that. So I have like an introduction. In case you haven't met me, I'm Joel Bennett. I'm a principal DevOps engineer at Loan Depot. I like solving problems with code and helping other people figure out how to do it themselves. Yeah, that's enough. So here's the thing. I have a whole bunch of slides that look like this. It goes all the way to Z. We're not going to use them unless things go poorly. That's the new plan. So, sorry, I switched to my terminal and there's a wall of red. Speaking of, I'm going to start. I'm going to jump around a little. That's part of the reason for the new plan. This is the wall of red that I was looking at. Whoops, why did it not go? Okay, so can we, if I put my mouse on that screen, there we go. Okay, so this is the first tool we're gonna start with. See this command line here? Can you guys read that in the back? Should I go bigger? Bigger. Big? Good. Okay, so the first tool is called bun. If you have to deal with NPM at all, bun is really cool. It's like NPM, but in a single executable. And it can do, it's basically like NPM and Node got glued together. So it can do NPM install, but it can also do NPM run, and you don't need to separately install Node, and it's all just there. And that's what I'm using to do those slides that we were looking at earlier. Okay, we're done with that. Now we're gonna find out whether or not I can stay on it. Somebody give me like a 5-minute warning when we're getting close and we'll switch back to slides. That'll totally work. So, I said A is for age, right? So age is a encryption tool. And what's really cool about it is if you've ever used PGP, age is like PGP, only trivial instead of like PGP. So we're gonna do a little demo because that's the whole point of switching off the slides. We can, actually I'm not gonna run this command because it's gonna regenerate no, I'll do it as a different, that's the better idea. Age O, this is age keygen, right? It made a new key, it gave me my public key. So that's my public, well, not my public key, but it's this public key. Inside the key file, I'm going to show it to you because nobody cares about that file because we're not even going to use it for any of the other demos. So that's what it looks like inside. See how tiny the secret key is? This is why I like this instead of PGP. So that's the secret key. Now the cool thing is I can put like a bunch of these in here. So we can take this, for example, content, key 2, and put it into, add it to the bottom of key. There, now key text has both of them in it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna encrypt something like, why is there only decryption things here? Oh, what letter is this? F. F is for FZF, Fuzzy Finder. If you're not familiar with FZF, the downside of this of not doing the slides is that the URLs are on every single slide. Oh my word! There, June Gun FZF. So there might be one of these tools that is not on GitHub, and there's probably like 4 of them that are not single binary executables. Okay. So almost all of these you can just install -github release if you've ever installed that script. I have a script called install -github release. You can install it by running install script install -github release. Whew. And then you can just install get release JuneGun FCF, and it does the thing. But FCF does this fuzzy finding thing you're seeing on the GIF in the background, which is going to make me dizzy. The cool thing about it is you see this. So how many of you know that there's a hotkey in PS Readline, Control-R, to do backward search in your history? So instead of retyping something or having to hit up arrow like 1,000 times, press Control-R. This is Control-R, but you've never seen it like that before because this is Control-R added by a PowerShell module for FCF because we do these things when we love our tools. So somebody wrote a module. I can't remember the name of the guy right now. Anyway, somebody wrote a module called PS FCF. Somebody else wrote a module called Posh FCF, but that one is not on the gallery. It's in Conda. Don't ask me why. But PS FCF has a feature where you can have it take over the Control-R, and then when you're doing Control-R, you get a full screen and progressive search so that you can see the other results around instead of just one result at a time like you do with normal Control-R. It works the same way other than that. So the example that I was looking for was this one. So we're going to, but we're going to use this public key that we got out of here, right? So I just made a new key. I am going to encrypt this thing for the guy that, for that person. Now there's a couple of neat things here. So one is now that's encrypted. I'm gonna do the thing. If I run this like this, that's the original, right? If I run it like this, it's gonna go because it's all binary. So if you don't want it to be binary because maybe you need to send it in an email, there's a -A. We're not gonna get to Z, I can tell already. And then you get the base 64 encoded, yay. Okay, and decrypting is like we've seen it a half dozen times here already. Where'd it go? Decrypt. Yeah, any of those. Now here's the thing, right? I said identity, I said my key file. I have multiple identities in there now. I can prove it, hang on. Here, we're gonna do another tool while we're on the way to showing that. BAT, B is for BAT. BAT is, well, I'll show you more in a second. But we're gonna do BAT. What am I looking for? Key, yes. Okay, so see how there's 2 age secret keys there? That's the whole demo, no. Yeah, so decrypt, identity, key.text, output, netlify tom. We pass in the netlify toml h, and it just does the thing. Now, of course, I just realized my hand waving is not gonna work here because I'm gonna show you netlify tom, but it's the same one as it was before because I just encrypted it and decrypted it and overwrite the same file. Oh, anyway. So that's what age does. I actually got introduced to age while using SOPs. I don't know if you've heard of SOPs. S is probably for SOPs. SOPs is a secret tool from Mozilla, which, well, actually it's from the CNCF now because they donated it. But it encrypts just the values in YAML and JSON and TOML and any kind of files. So when you're trying to put, for example, if you come to my talk later, I'm doing a talk on OpenTelemetry. In that talk, we're gonna use my Kubernetes cluster. My Kubernetes cluster is provisioned using Bicep that's in a public repo, using JSON that's in a public repo. Now I need a couple of secrets in there, and the way that you get them in there is you use SOPs. It encrypts the values, which is all I care about encrypting, right? And then on the cluster, SOPs is running with a workload identity, so it has access to key vaults, and it can go and fetch the secret and decrypt the SOPs file, and everything just works. Make sense? Kinda? Okay. Kinda is what we're going for right now, because we're trying to go faster. Okay, so B is for BAT. Let's see if, I'm gonna try to do the slides just for, if you wanna try to take pictures, you've gotta have your camera ready, okay? Because the URLs will be, this will all be on my JCole DevOps 2025 later on GitHub. It isn't yet. It's a cat clone with syntax highlighting and Git integration. So how cool is this? Bat, slides, slides. Oh, that's very sad because it's all there. See how that does syntax highlighting? It does it for PowerShell too. And yeah, it does not do the every other line thing is from a different tool. You see how it's like highlighted every other line? That is a feature of O is for OV. We'll get to that. This is a pager. So I don't use less as a pager anymore. I've moved on to OV. We'll talk about that in a minute. Well, 5 minutes. We're going to get to O in 5 minutes. That's totally happening. So BAT is cool. Moving on. C is for chezmoi. And I am totally going to, this is all you're getting for a demo for chezmoi because this takes a little minute to run. Chezmoi is a .file manager tool. So what it does is it synchronizes your like .config, your PowerShell.ps, your profile.ps1, anything that you care to sync between servers or between your machines, including servers. So you can literally type those commands, winget install 2-pane chezmoi, and then chezmoi init -apply jcol, and you will be running my profile. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but you can. And the trick is that it uses jcol as a, when you say apply jcol, it goes, there must be a jcol person on GitHub that has a repo called .files, and it goes and gets it and pulls it down onto your machine, and you will have my profile. And it won't work. It will prompt you for an email address. If you want it to really even try to work, you should pretend to be me for a minute and put your email address as jcol@huddledmasses.org, because there's a whole bunch of, chezmoi has a template language, and that allows you to have little ifs and elses. So I have a whole bunch of places where I do if this person is jcol, do this. If this person is Joel Bennett, that must mean he's at work, do something else. Yeah, that's a thing I do. Okay, so moving on. Oh, last thing. If you are using chezmoi, see the line at the bottom here, chezmoi edit, and you pass the real path, and it will open the file that's in Git in your editor instead of the real path. And that way you can edit it, and the -- apply means that when you're done editing it and you close it, it'll take the one from the Git repo and put it overwrite the local file. And that's how you get new files in there and edit the ones without getting out of sync from your Git repo. The cool thing about it, obviously, is that I've got multiple machines and I can just chezmoi update and it pulls down, like literally you just type chezmoi update. Pulls down the latest repo, applies all the files into all the different folders where they need to go. Okay, C is for curl. So here's the thing about curl. I have a love-hate relationship with curl. Curl is amazing and super powerful. The docs for curl, if you print them out, are an 80-page book. That's the man file we're talking about, 80 pages. It's a pain in the butt. It's really complicated. But it's on every freaking computer in the world because Microsoft finally decided they're going to just ship it in Windows as a apology for making a curl alias for it. So I want to show you two tricks here. Okay. So the first one is curl by default does not fail. What that means is when you do something like this and you get a 503 error, the success, here, I'll do this. The normal situation would be you would do this and you would say, hey, if that succeeds, you know, yay, it worked. And it would say, yay, it worked, which is super confusing when you get a 503 error. So if you put -- fail on, it will not do that. It'll fail. So, and you're just going to trust, oh no, you don't have to trust me. Watch this, status 404, status 302, oops. 302. See? Yay, it worked, right? So fail only fails when it should fail. But if you don't put fail, it doesn't fail when it should fail. it's not at all confusing. The other cool thing about curl --JSON, come on. Oh, darn. What? Oh, that was there. Yeah. Okay. So this is, I'm taking the current directory, I'm selecting a couple properties off it, I'm converting it to JSON. Then I'm going to pass it to curl. Boom. And so you can see at the bottom that it did, in fact, get the data on the other side and send it back to me in JSON. I passed it the provider path and the path. Cool, right? So that's JSON. I mean, that's how to do JSON in curl. The other cool demo for curl is, no, the other curl demo for curl is not here. That's fine. See this line here at the bottom? So one of the, this is, I have as many of these kind of demos as I can where I'm demoing two tools at once. So I don't know if you know this, but if you've ever uploaded SSH keys to GitHub, they're available for everyone in the world to check your public key. So you can use SSH keys as keys for age. If you have an SSH key already, you don't have to do the age keygen. You can just use that one. So this allows me to go boom, and then I get the encrypted version of whatever was in that password file, and I can just email that to, or send it in a issue to that guy, and he can decrypt it, even though nobody else can. Right? Cool? Okay. So curl does some neat things. Now, you may have noticed most of these you could just do with invoke REST method. Okay. .NET New. Somebody did a demo yesterday on some new way to prototype PowerShell modules. Do it this way instead. So .NET New is a templating engine. It's part of .NET. All you have to do is make a PowerShell module and then put a JSON file in there to tell .NET New what parts of the module you want to be able to template. So you basically say, here's the name of the module, and here's the GUID. You know, if you make a module in the PSD1, there's a GUID. This is where the GUID. This is the GUID that's currently there. Then when somebody does .NET New, they get a copy of everything that you had in that folder, but the GUID gets replaced, and the name gets replaced by whatever they put in as the name. And that's all you do. You don't have to do a whole bunch of templating. You don't have to think about like how to. It's no logic. Essentially no logic. Don't get me started, because mine have logic. We use .NET New at work for PowerShell modules. In fact, if you care, on GitHub, in the Lone Depot org, there is a PowerShell template. There's also one under my username, and at the last place I worked, which was ? There's one there. But it's PowerShell template. We do our PowerShell modules with .NET New PS module. We also use them for helping developers get started with Helm and with Kubernetes and with .NET projects. So it can handle all those things, and that's why we like it. Okay, we're staying on slides. E is for Earthly. Earthly is a cross between make and Docker files. It's really, really cool because you can run a build that works the same way every time, but it runs on your local box, it runs in the cloud, it runs in Azure DevOps and GitHub, whatever. The files are really simple because they're copied. The syntax is basically Docker files. It is actually, by the way, using Docker, what's the Moby? No, the other one. Anyway, it's using Docker under the hood. We did this one. G is for Git. I hope you're all using Git. That's really why I put G is for Git, because if you're not using Git, please use Git. H is, oh, got a demo. Yeah, got a demo. So H is for HTTP. HTTP is super cool. It can do things. Oh, the demo we did a minute ago with JSON. Where'd it go? HTTP space. There's too many HTTPs in this. I can't find it. We're going to use this one instead. So this is how to download a file with HTTP py. So you just type HTTP, your URL, pipe it into wherever you want it to go. There it goes. Oh, bonus demo. I is for Image Magic. which you start with magic, not image magic. We can magic pi. Okay, so if I magic pi, I can convert it to any format, right? It's a PNG right now. We can just do pi.jpg. We can do pi.6. Anybody ever heard of Sixel? So 6 is the Sixel format. So now if I cat pi 6, pigs in my terminal. Why pigs? So it can also, by the way, you can do that in one step by using the path Sixel colon and then putting dash, meaning output on the pipeline, and it'll just do it right in line. I have a better demo for that, which is cool. Watch. Magic, background. So magic, the cool thing about image magic is it can actually generate images. So here we go. I is for image magic. All right, moving on. J is for JNV. JNV is a interactive filter editor for JQ. So you can do stuff like this. I'm going to do the demo because screw it. We're not getting to Z anyway. You guys can stop me anytime out in the hallway and I'll show you all the rest of these. Or just look on the GitHub later. So the cool thing about this is colored text. By the way, I love colored text. A lot of the tools that are in this deck are actually about getting syntax highlighting on my stuff because I'm a scanner. I'm not a reader. I scan them and I go, that one. And people are always like, what? How did you find that so quickly? And I'm like, I don't know, man. It's color coded, so it's easy. But so here's the thing, right? I want to know, this is the JSON output from a Kubernetes pod, right? Yes, from a Kubernetes pod. So what is the pod? We can type we can type dot metadata. And now we're just looking at the metadata for that output. And then we can type dot name, and there's the name. It's OpenSearch pod. Okay, I knew that because I typed it in the command line, but don't tell anybody. So that's JNV. It's basically JQ with live filtering instead of having to rerun the command over and over, which is particularly nice when you're running a remote command and fetching data. K is for canines. I'm totally not going to demo this one. It's really cool. It is an interactive terminal for Kubernetes. So you can dive into namespaces, look at pods, look at logs of pods, look at the config for pods, restart pods, connect an SSH tunnel to pods, and all kinds of stuff. This one's kind of cheating because it's actually a TUI, not a CLI, but don't tell anybody. LNAV. Okay, another one I'm going to demo because this is crazy because you guys can do this demo right now without installing anything because we literally just SSH into their demo box. And now we're looking at LNAV. So what LNAV does, LNAV is for logs. See this log file? This is I think this is a HTTP. No, this is not. This is from a Go app of some sort. You can tell because the way the timestamp is on the left. But the IW, see how all the things that start with E are red and all the things that start with W are yellow because the tool itself has a config that understands, it does parsing with regex and it can tell what type of log file this is. So it knows that the ones that start with E are errors and I can just push E and go to the next error. How cool is that? And I didn't have to type anything. I just type LNAV, the file, and there you go. And see that markdown stuff there with links and everything? You can annotate your logs. So once you've found the problem, you can hit a key, you can type a message up for yourself for later, and just move on in life. It makes a whole database and everything. But anyway. So I think that's all the time I have. Yeah, we got to M.